The Yom Kippur War of 1973, a turning point in Middle East history. The Yom Kippur War of 1973, also known as the October War, stands as a pivotal moment in the history of the Middle East. This conflict, which pitted Israel against a coalition of Arab states led by Egypt and Syria, had profound and lasting effects on the region. This essay delves into the historic details of the Yom Kippur War, exploring the events leading up to it, the war itself, and its consequences for the nations involved and the broader Middle East. I.e. background, tensions and preparations. In the years leading up to the Yom Kippur War, tensions between Israel and its Arab neighbors had been simmering. The Arab states, humiliated by the defeat in the Six-Day War of 1967, sought to regain territory lost to Israel. Egypt, led by President Anwar Sadat, and Syria, under President Hafez al-Assad, felt compelled to challenge Israeli dominance. Egypt, in particular, took extensive military and political measures to prepare for the conflict. They improved their military capabilities, acquired advanced Soviet weaponry, and engaged in a diplomatic effort to regain the Sinai Peninsula, which had been occupied by Israel since 1967. These preparations were conducted with utmost secrecy, catching Israel off guard. 2. The outbreak of war. The Yom Kippur War began on October 6, 1973, with a surprise attack by Egyptian and Syrian forces during the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur. The timing of the attack was calculated to exploit the Israeli military's reduced readiness due to the holiday. The initial days of the war saw significant territorial gains by the Arab coalition, with Egyptian forces crossing the Suez Canal and Syrian forces pushing into the Golan Heights. Israel's early setbacks were a result of the Arab forces' improved military strategies, extensive use of anti-tank missiles, and well-coordinated offensives. 3. Israeli response and international involvement. Israel, under the leadership of Prime Minister Golda Meir and Defense Minister Moshe Dayan, quickly regrouped and launched a counteroffensive. The Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, engaged in fierce battles on both fronts, eventually halting the Arab advances. This marked a turning point in the war, as Israel managed to regain lost territory. International involvement played a significant role in the conflict. The United States, led by Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, initiated a massive airlift of military supplies to Israel to bolster its defenses. This move helped stabilize the Israeli front lines and signaled American support for its Middle Eastern ally. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union supplied arms to Egypt and Syria, indirectly contributing to the intensification of the conflict. 4. Ceasefire and consequences. The Yom Kippur War ultimately ended in a ceasefire agreement brokered by the United Nations. The war had far-reaching consequences for the nations involved and the Middle East as a whole. Diplomacy. The war led to a renewed diplomatic effort to resolve the Israeli-Arab conflict. The Camp David Accords of 1978, mediated by President Jimmy Carter, resulted in Egypt recognizing Israel's right to exist and the return of the Sinai Peninsula to Egyptian control. Shifts in leadership. The Yom Kippur War affected the political landscape of the region. Sadat's decision to engage in diplomacy with Israel led to his assassination by extremists within Egypt. Meanwhile, Syria's Hafez al-Assad remained in power, solidifying his regime's control. Impact on Israel. Israel underwent a period of introspection and military reform following the war. The initial shock of being caught off guard prompted a reassessment of its intelligence and military preparedness. In conclusion, the Yom Kippur War of 1973 serves as a significant milestone in the history of the Middle East, a conflict marked by surprise attacks, international involvement, and eventual diplomatic efforts. It reshaped the dynamics of the region, leading to shifts in leadership, diplomatic initiatives, and a lasting impact on the Israeli-Arab conflict. The historic details of this war continue to inform our understanding of the complex geopolitical landscape of the Middle East to this day.